Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. Now as promised, this is a subreddit I'm kind of scared of because you never know what's gonna happen. So honestly, let's just get hydrated and get started because waiting is worse. Yes? You hydrated, had some water or some tea? Yes? Good, let's get started. I literally cannot get myself to sit through movies that don't have women. I'm like, where the fuck are the women? Why are there so many men? This is boring as frick. Goodbye. Even if it is historically accurate. Ah yes, as everyone knows, women were invented in the 1990s. I mean, first part, yeah, I think it's weird if there's like one token woman, right? But yes, it's historically accurate that there are no women. Of course. It must be hard for a man to express his feelings, having no bosoms to rise and fall with emotion. This was 100% a call-out posting about male office. I'm not sure what this is. Literally, boobs are not where your emotions come from. But also, it isn't how you express emotions. What are you... I am so confused. It's like 2 minutes into the videos and I'm confused. Good start. Anyways. This whole book has both my eyes and my boobs rolling. No, Craig. I want a big, dumb, fake answer. No, rolled her eyes. I think her breasts roll in sync with them. God's breasts are so amazing. Don't you hate it when your boobs roll out of annoyance, you know? She was a woman, and as such, she was primarily concerned with two things: how she looked and how she could please a man. Of course, she was aware of her own attractiveness and knew that her looks could get her what she wanted from a man. She was also aware of her own sexual power and knew that she could use it to manipulate a man into doing what she wanted. She was confident and self-assured and knew that she could get what she wanted from a man if she played her cards right. I mean, to be fair, this might actually work for a lot of men. I mean, women with a lot of men. The way this is written is still weird. And just weird. Ah yes, here we have a very good drawing. Don't. Color theory, divisive designs, silhouettes. No. Don't do it. Do this instead. Because big boobs is all that matters, obviously. Now half London's to have horror rained upon it, all because of my ridiculous female navette. You are no more naive than I. We're just lucky that Nemo was genius enough to work things out. Ah yes. How womanly naive of me. I have no idea what's going on in this comic, and I'm kinda glad I don't. But really, from when is this comic? Does anyone know? I'm not sure I want to know, but if you do know, still leave it in the comments. I'm gonna laugh about it. I admire a girl who knows how to sashay, he told himself, watching the fascinating interplay of her left buttock with her right. They put him in a mind of two puppies in a pillowcase. Maybe don't put puppies in a pillowcase. And also, what's that? I'm trying to picture it, but it's not looking like a buttocks if I picture it with two puppies in a pillowcase. You know what I'm saying? This is weird. The freaking what? You get ready to save your friend's life by stitching her up, but then you get distracted by her left boob. Ah yes, he hesitated only for an instant when he saw the swell of her bare left breasts. Sure, because when you're like in an emergency and like trying to save your friend from bleeding out, you're gonna be distracted by boobs, obviously, because that's the thing you're gonna be focused on, is sex, obviously, because you're a man. What else would you be thinking about, you know? What? Anyways. While we're on the topic of men making realistic armor for women, let's not forget George Kamitani's baffling exaggerated character designs for the sorceress and Amazon in Dragon's Crown. I mean, the one on the right has incredibly thick thighs, and also the angle is really weird, but the entire design is kind of weird. Like, what are you... Who lets you design characters? Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her nipples were hard and dark and shrunken on breasts like empty pouches. What even is this description? What? Again, my problem is that I'm trying to picture what that actually looks like. But I'm finding it very hard to make these descriptions look like actual human bodies, you know? Treves studied the young woman carefully. She was not much more than 1.5 meters in height, and her breasts, though shapely, were small. Yet she did not seem unripe. The nipples were large and the areola dark, though that might be the result of a brownish skin color. Why? Why? Just why? What should I be? She asked, raising her eyebrows slightly, even as part of her wanted to break eye contact and blush furiously at the singular masculine tension from the very masculine male. This seems very... having to prove your own masculinity by saying you're masculine, it's really weird and very not masculine. You know? Anyways, the woman, probably his mother, looked to be in her late 30s. She was then almost gaunt. Her blonde hair was tied back into a tight bun, perhaps in an effort to keep herself looking young. How does tying your hair in a bun make you look younger? I'm confused. But I feel like that's not going to go away this video at all. So anyways, books in this series, taken by the Tetris blocks, an erotic short story about a woman being okay. Part 2. I'm really glad we only have part 1 and 2. Conquered by Clippy, an erotic short story. Honestly, I would probably kind of love to read this just because they seem so ridiculous that they'd probably be funny to read. Because what were you smoking when you came up with these ideas? I'm not sure I want to know, but maybe I do. Instinctively, I averted my eyes and picked up my pace, changed course slightly to give him a wider berth, just as Ivan did the opposite, slowing down right in front of the man, looking right at him, into his eyes. Books, really? I was overcome by a sudden sense of Ivan's freedom. I realized for the first time that if you were some tall guy who looked like Ivan, you could pretty much stop to look at anything you wanted, whenever you felt like it. And because I was walking with him now, just for this moment, I had special dispensation. Yes, because women can't look at things unless they're with a tall, handsome man? Is that the point you're trying to make? Oh well. Yes. I'd fuck her so hard I'd give her back her pussy in her hands. Sir? Please never actually sleep with a woman. That does not seem like it's gonna go well for the woman. Please refrain from doing so. Thank you. Yes, things women in literature have died from. Cold hands, pony exhaustions, beautiful face, rolling congestion, missing slippers, sherry surf too cold, wrist fevers, ship infidelity, night brain. What is night brain? Spend more than a month in London after growing up in Yorkshire. Going outside at night in Italy. Clergyman's dropsy? What? Clergyman's dropsy? Anyways. Too many pillows, flirting headaches, garden troubles, river unhappiness. Someone said no very loudly while they were in the room. General bummers, knitting needles too heavy, letter reading fix, drawing room anguish, beautiful chestnut hair, Not enough pillows. Spinal degeneration as a result of pride. Haven't seen C in a long time. Parents too happy. Too many novels. The unpleasantness. Someone said no very loudly while they were in the room. How loud did you scream that she got that startled that she literally had a heart attack and died? Maybe don't scream that loudly, but not enough pillows and too many pillows. You need the right amount of pillows, obviously, because otherwise you're gonna die. I'm confused. It's important to give female characters a hobby. Gillian Boardman was a competent nurse and her hobby was men. Ah, yes. Maybe that's true. But considering that a man wrote this is still very weird. Male literotica office. Lucy had high breasts with dark brown nipples pointing skywards. They were sensitive breasts, and her nipples were even more sensitive. Some days they could drive her to distraction, so much so she had to take into putting tape over them to stop it sometimes. And today was one of those days. But as yet, she has not taped over them. This was more brickwork that was building the conspiracy against her even more. Her nipples were in detonation mode, hitched to an extremely short fuse. Okay, yes, women's nipples are usually more sensitive than men's, but what's this? Alright, listen, if that is your fantasy, I don't really want to come for it, but I kinda do. You know? My arms fell heavily on Wada's shoulders. I embraced her fiercely, without unclenching my fists, as if I was still hammering at the wall. She subsided against me. Her tears ran down my neck. Her hair covered my eyes. I could only inhale her breath, burning human and perfumed. I was not thinking of her. She was not thinking of me. Our bodies did not exist for us, but they suddenly came into existence for themselves, kindled by anger. I had never before felt conscious of myself as a man, nor been conscious of her as a woman. She was 32, old enough to be a grandmother. 32, old enough to be a grandmother? Anyways, but her face had no lines, and her hair was jet black. I no longer dared to move, for fear I might give myself away, or to speak, for fear of sending her away, nor even to open my eyes, for fear of having to recognize that I was entwined with the only woman rigorously forbidden to me, my father's wife. Okay, this entire text was weird. How old is your father? How old are you? And how is 32 old enough to be a grandmother? I mean, sure, it can work, but what? Anyways. Frank brought Mana to her father's cave and left us alone. We had difficulty in speaking at first. I was shy. Her gown was diaphanous. Her gown was azure. It was a simple gown caught lightly at the waist by a gossamer thread. All else was shaped by Mona herself. Her breasts were like pomegranates, or what you will, but like nothing so much as young women's breasts. What the... I love it when they describe boobs with fruit sizes, as if fruits don't come in different sizes. Like, if you use apples, there are so many different sized apples, you're not making sense. You're really not making sense. The woman was still feeling her bosom existing in her blouse, thinking, my tits, my lovely fruits, smiling mysteriously. Ah, yes. Normal thoughts to have, I guess. But, yeah, don't people feel their body parts in general, like, no matter what it is? Like, you can feel your body existing, right? But, what? Anyways? Damn, you're heaving bosom, Sinestra. You'll tell me how aliens breathe oxygen, or I'll gut you like one of your pet pterodactyls. It's a fascinating tale, Graveline. What a pity you won't be able to hear it, but it involves fluorine. Why are we bringing her boobs into this? What do her boobs do to you? Come on. My walk, she said, was strong, graceful, balanced, forceful, she said. You walk like a Great Dane, she said. That's an attitude of forceful thrusting at a headboard. Alright. I guess my walk turned her on, unlike her old boyfriend, who had a fast walk, she said, with a vertical push from the balls of his feet. She said, a boyish bounce, she said, immature. The librarian, with shoulders rounded, heel drags, head and eyes down like an Egyptian slave hauling pyramid stones, defeated doing the work of others. The other librarian walked with a light delicacy, hips swinging to side with each step, pitch for toes to land, then high heels designed to send breasts forward, force and need for balance. Arch the back and extend her butt. Side to side, hips swinging with every step forward. She seemed to be saying, follow me, sir. I think I like you. I don't even know what to say. I really don't know what to say. And then she smoked a cigarette, blowing smoke into the leaves of the elm tree that grew just outside, unmindful that the sheet she'd wrapped around herself only covered one of her small, thick-nippled breasts. First of all, if she wants to smoke by the window and only cover one of her breasts, fine, who really cares? But why is it important that she's half naked in the scene? It probably isn't, but why is it important to you that she's half naked in the scene? Ah, yes. Honestly, I'm not reading the rest of this, but her ample bottom swung back and forth like a melon on a pendulum. Back and forth? Why? What is... Again, I'm trying to picture it, but it's not looking too human. It looks very cartoonish. That's what always happens. These people always end up looking like cartoons, because bodies don't really work the same way in cartoons, obviously, because it's funny, right? But these are just weird. You know... What's going on, Kip? She asked. Big brown eyes, full lips, full curves, flawless skin. It was impossible to talk to her and not be aware of her beauty. Prettier than Liv, even, really, and infinitely more here. I'm really hoping Liv isn't Kip's girlfriend, because then it's really weird if he says it like this. And also, are ALOs really this weird that they're constantly, like, that focused on how attractive someone is? What? Okay. Alright, good. She stays for an unbroken 2 weeks, and Edward makes passionate love to her. Haley describes their intimacy in detail, I found difficult. Her clitoris is monstrous, the size of a pre-pubertal boy's penis. He has never known such a generous lover. I'm not sure what's going on. Is this supposed to be an erotic story? Also, what? Alright. Alright. This makes no sense. I'm moving on. All was understood. She moved down his large, warm body and took his member into her mouth. This act was the one thing in her life she had ever really wanted to do. She had given up so much, and she had never complained, but she could not, at least once, have this. She did not need to be married. She did not need to be beautiful or desired by men. She did not need to be surrounded by friends of frivolity. She didn't need an estate, a library, a fortune. There was so much that she didn't need. She didn't even need to have the unexplored terrain of her ancient virginity excavated at long last, at the wearisome age of 53, though she knew tomorrow morning would oblige her had she wished. Okay, mate, this seems like a really weird fantasy of, like, I just want a woman to pleasure me because, yeah, without having to do anything in return, or without wanting to do anything for her in return. What is... don't understand any of these. I don't understand any of these. Anyways, Miyazaki. Nezuka's breasts are large, aren't they? Yes. That's not so she'll be able to breastfeed her babies in the future or make love to a man who will steal her heart anyways. I think her bosom has to be as large so she can embrace all those poor old men and women in the castle when they're dying. Oh, I get it. Shocked. The shock seems fair. Her bosom has to allow people to feel secure as she embraces them when they're dying. I think if someone's dying, they don't actually care if they're being comforted by a person who has an ample bosom versus one who doesn't. I don't think they care. I don't think they care. You know, because I think if you're dying, you're not going to be thinking about that, because why would you? You know, I'm so confused. It's tricky to catch Jeannie on her own. As the sticky afternoon drifts off, Jenny and Dawn remain inseparable. A cracking electricity surrounds them. The way Jeannie looks at Dawn so hungrily, it's almost male. Ah yes, because being sexually attracted to someone is an exclusively male thing, right? Or only if you show it. Is it okay to be attracted to men as a woman? Or is it okay to be attracted to anyone as a woman? As long as you don't show it, is that what you're saying? Mate, you still don't make sense. And we're gonna end on a pretty short one. In her shirt, her pert nipples vibrating like doorstop springs. Vibrating like DOS. It literally says vibrating like doorstop springs. Again, if you try to picture that, I think you'll find that it looks like a cartoon. None of these descriptions seem like actual human women. So anyways, that is literally all I can take of this. That's all I can take. It's so much of the same thing of boobs and nipples specifically having like personalities and literally being like way too focused in a book where literally it doesn't matter. And it's really weird. It's really weird. So I'm gonna distract myself from the weirdness now. Anyways, I will see you in 3 days. Once again, I have no idea what the next video is. I'm just kind of hoping it's gonna be one that's less confusing and less weird in this disgusting kind of way. So wish me luck that I planned my videos well. Anyways, I will see you in 3 days.